What's up YouTube, ODST General back again with some Gas Station Simulator. And today guys, we're going to be taking a look at some dubbed over footage of the Can Touch This DLC, the first paid DLC for Gas Station Simulator. So I've been kind of looking forward to this DLC for a while. I know you guys on my channel aren't like super huge fans of Gas Station Simulator. Probably not a lot of you guys are going to watch this video, but for those who do, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed this game for some reason, and so I like to continue to come back to it and you know, check out the updates and stuff for it. Now, preceding this update, which just came out on the 18th of May here, there was a free update on the 12th, which included a bunch of changes like the ability to remove decorations on the outside of the building and place them in different areas, all sorts of stuff. But the big focus of the paid DLC is the ability to change the appearance of your gas station, in some cases very radically. Allows you to place new doors, new windows, different types of roofs, different flooring, a lot of different options. Now, it's far from perfect though. It's got some pretty big flaws. But for $3 DLC, it's really great. Definitely a lot of functionality that I think a lot of people would want to have had to, let me rephrase this, would like to have had in the initial game, in the vanilla game, as opposed to a paid DLC. With that being said, you know, for $3, it's hard to knock it. You know, it's a pretty cheap DLC as far as DLCs go, and it's pretty extensive as far as some of the stuff it allows you to do for the gas station. The DLC includes 2 new levels to the gas station, one of which expands it out a little bit further. Then the other levels include upgrades to the warehouse, which increases fuel capacity for storage and overall warehouse storage, and a upgrade for the car workshop, which just allows you to remove and place items around that, but not actually adding any new functionality to the car workshop. So, as far as issues for this go, like I said, it's a good DLC. I like the DLC. I like the concept behind it. I really like how it really lets you truly customize the gas station. Because one issue I had with the vanilla game is that even after you get the gas station fully upgraded in the vanilla and you've painted all the walls and everything, the gas station still feels pretty ratty. One of my biggest gripes with this DLC, however, is that you've got all these different options for different walls, and you can place the doors and all these other things. You can only have patterns either on both sides of the wall or on the outside only. You cannot have 2 different patterns on each side of the wall, so that's a huge negative in my mind. What I'd initially wanted to do was, I really like brick buildings and stuff, and I wanted to have not too much brick. I wanted to break up the texture on the outside of the building because I had a brick roof, and you know, I did brick pillars in this video. Originally I did metal when I was checking this out, but you know, I went back and did brick, but I didn't want just brick on the entire outside of the building. I wanted to break it up a little bit, but I did want some more brick on the inside because I really like the look of it. Unfortunately, if I wanted stone, in the case I went with stone in this video, or if I wanted to go with like a different type of brick, I cannot use brick on the inside. I can use that same exact texture on the inside. I can use it on both sides of the wall, or I can use it only on the outside and then paint the inside of the walls. And that was that's a big negative for me. I didn't like that. I think that you should have been able to put 2 different textures, or the ability to swap between the walls and have the 2 different textures that way. So that's that was a pretty big negative for me. I really was unhappy about that. Another issue I had is they added a painting service, which is fantastic. I really do like the fact that there's a painting service. The problem is the painting service does not just refresh the default colors. If you have unpainted surfaces, which of course, you know, with this new DLC, a lot of these surfaces look really good without being painted, and a lot of them, in fact, look better without being painted. They'll just come and paint it, and if you don't have a color selected, they're just going to paint it white by default, which I hate. It's really awful. It's actually a mistake. You'll see me making the video because I didn't realize that the painting surface was something I hadn't used. And I just wanted to show it off, so I was going to use it really because I had 2 dirty walls. I was like, well, $700 is a lot to paint 2 dirty walls. I could do it myself, but I want to show this feature to you guys. Unfortunately, they came and painted pretty much my entire building white. They painted the interior of my warehouse all white and everything. It's really awful. I really hated it. So that's something that I'm really dearly hoping they fix with regards to the DLC or the expansion, because I think the painting service was part of the free DLC and everybody gets that. But yeah, that was really frustrating. But another thing I did like that they did in this is the ability to move both the garbage cans and the cash register. Obviously, a lot of people had asked for the ability to move the cash register, so having that functionality with this new tool is fantastic. You can pretty much move it anywhere in the gas station. You can rearrange the way people line up at the counter, so if you want, you can have longer lines or more winding lines, or just go really crazy with it and have people all over the gas station in lines, I guess, if you wanted to. Personally, I tried to go for something a little bit more realistic, so I set up my counter here. You guys can see I'm kind of putting it in the corner, trying to debate a little bit on where I want it exactly, but I want the one thing that always bothered me is I couldn't really have the tobacco directly behind the register with the old placement. It was near it, but it wasn't directly behind it, so it was something you can see me messing around with here, and it's trying to like nitpick, because it just bothered me, just not having the tobacco behind the register. So just trying to find the right placement to where I can have the register be accessible by the cashier, by myself, and then I guess customers will presumably need to go back there, because I'm pretty sure they still need to grab tobacco and items themselves, because obviously the cashier is not going to. The other thing is I also want the back corner kind of being the cold section. Alcohol, stuff like that. That's what I had it as previously, prior to removing all the items, but I want to just basically keep it like that, just freshen up the look, redo the paint and everything, just make it look a lot better. So yeah, so right now just going through and we're painting the walls here, and we got all the walls in the gas station. We are painting with one of the 3 new paints. Now these new paints are pretty cool. On walls like this, what I'm painting right now, they don't look very good. And this particular color is probably the best looking one on walls in my opinion, because it's kind of like a grayish blue color almost. It's a darker color. I really like it. A little darker than what I normally like to go with for the inside of the gas station, because it's a little too dark sometimes with the lighting. But of the 3 colors, it looks the best on the wall in my opinion. The other 2 are kind of like a gold and like a copper, almost bronzes looking thing, but what those are designed for is they're actually designed for the metal that's been added into the game. So the metal roof cannot be painted, but there is other metal surfaces such as metal flooring and pillars and stuff like that you can paint, and they have a reflective quality, and they genuinely look like gold and stuff like this. This one I think is supposed to be like a silver or something like that. Some sort of brushed or polished material, and it's just so dark. But yeah, so for my gas station, again, I really wanted to break it up. I really like the brick and stone look. I thought about going with the metal look, because they had like a 50s style diner vibe to it, but the problem is you can't have a diner, and so it just feels weird having this gas station that's like got that 50s style diner vibe, and the windows and stuff are really cool for it, because there's some like double windows for it, or like one big unbroken window that you can get, and it looks really awesome. Having big windows across the front of the gas station would actually be really neat. But again, I just preferred the brick roof, and the stone walls and stuff just looked the best to me, and so I kind of wanted to stick with that. But again, I wanted to have the inside be a little bit different. I would have preferred to have a different texture of wall here on the inside, either going with like a brick on the inside would have been really nice for the most part. Changing it up again for this cold section / liquor section, because again, I like to paint it the brighter blue, a little bit brighter color. Like I said, I typically like that a little bit better, because it brightens up the whole gas station a little bit. The gas station otherwise kind of feels really dark, especially with the darker tiles that I chose, makes it feel even darker. It's actually kind of gloomy even now, you can see. And then you can see me being really stupid, because I was like, oh, I don't want that, and then I want that to be just a regular wall, and then kind of was only half paying attention. I put the window back down again instead of changing it to the wall like I meant to. So I actually just had to paint this thing 3 times in a row, because I didn't pay attention to what I was doing. So I've gotten rid of all my my windows here, where we've got all of our stuff pretty much placed where we wanted to. So here you can see me making the mistake with the wall painting service. So it's $700. which I thought was pretty pricey for 2 walls. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know if it's by default $700 or if it changes depending on how many unpainted walls you have or deteriorated walls. But so after we call that guy, then go in to paint the last couple unpainted walls. Now again, because you can only have one pattern, the bathrooms are kind of problematic because some of the bathroom is considered outside walls because it shares walls with the interior of the gas station. And then some of the, like stalls and stuff, it's really goofy and doesn't work extremely well. Again, you still can't enter into the stalls. That was something I wish they would update too. That's really got nothing so much to do with the DLC. That's just a base game thing. I really wish they would do it. So you can see him the second he starts painting, the whole building turns white. And this is me like sitting here freaking out right now. And it doesn't really portray in the video because I go back inside and it's all sped up. But I was like sitting there like looking at him like, is this just going to be temporarily white while he's painting? And then he gets back in the truck and you see me shaking my head right now because I know it's going to be white, and it unfortunately stayed white. It doesn't look really bad, but I preferred, again, the default colors. I just think that they looked a lot better. And you can see me looking around at like all of the interior and everything. So I've kind of gotten crushed and defeated. Obviously, I have to go back and paint it all, and even if I want it like a different color, it's still not going to look as good as what it looked by default, because there's some color variation stuff in here. So you can see me now go around, place some objects around outside, stuff near the workshop, and around the exterior of the gas station, which again is a new thing that came with the free update. So this is something that anybody can do. You don't need the DLC, anything like that. You've got all your hanging points and stuff. So a lot of this is just stuff that I pulled out of the gas station that was already in there by default. A few of these things I bought. They updated all the decorations in the store, which you guys will see a little bit later. So there's a whole bunch of new types of decorations and stuff. Various new utilities, but of course a lot of different things like movie posters and standing objects and stuff like that. Which, again, I'll show that off. It's going to be obviously pretty quick because everything's all sped up, but pretty neat nonetheless. I like all of it. Another new item is the spray paint thing, which comes as part of the DLC as well. There's a bunch of different paint patterns you can do. You can put in your own text. You can change the color of it, change the size, the rotation. A lot of different things here. So you can see me messing around with it and just trying to figure out exactly what I want to do, what color. That's another, actually, watching me play around with this, I'm trying to get the rotation just right. That is actually another huge gripe I have with this, even more so now, is with all these changes, this would have been the perfect time to implement snap functions. The game does not have any sort of snapping function for placing down shelving or anything else. The only thing that's got a snap function is the pre-placed hanging objects, but anything placed on the floor doesn't have any sort of snapping function. Having a grid snap to feature would have been amazing. I would have really appreciated that, because having all these just slightly crooked shelves, you know, once they're down, that's not going to bother me too much. But when I'm going to place them down, it's driving me nuts, because I know all these shelves are crooked. So kind of dying inside with that a little bit. You can see going back in, I'm just spray painting a few different places here while I've got all this stuff up. And again, you can see the inside of my warehouse has all been painted white because I didn't paint the interior. The one benefit, though, is if you have changed the color of a surface, they won't change that to white. They'll re-up whatever color you used. So that's a small benefit to the painting service. So if you've already gone through and you've painted everything anyways, you're fine, you're safe, you don't really have to worry about it. But yeah, if you haven't painted the surfaces, like I said, I had a bunch of unpainted stuff, you're gonna have a bad time. So another issue I'd like to see, again, this isn't really so much with the DLC, it's a vanilla game issue. When people go up to a shelf, that's when they decide what items they want. They don't go into the store looking for specific items. They don't get a random checklist of like, hey, here's all the available items or things this person could potentially have, and they go look for it. They'll go up to a shelf and be like, hey, I want this, but it's not on the shelf, even if it's on the shelf next to them. So for the most part, I only keep single shelves with the exception of snacks, because snacks fly off the shelf quite literally. Snacks and drinks, I should say. Pretty much everything else up until now with the cigarettes, because I wanted the cigarettes behind the counter, I only keep usually one shelf. And yeah, that's something that'll happen pretty frequently. So you'll actually lose sales because people are too dumb in the game to be like, there's not this drink I want on this shelf. Let me check a half an inch over on this other shelf that's the same type of shelving. So that's something I wish that they would update. I don't know if that's ever going to be something they'd fix. But again, and just another small issue, I think, made even worse by the fact that you can change so many things in the gas station now. And just really kind of ruins things a little bit for me. So it kind of wastes, well, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it negates, I would say, some of the purpose of having so much customization and so much room in the gas station. With a lot of decorations, I guess there is some purpose to the room if you want decorations, but it's hard to be utilitarian, I guess, with that space. You know, you can just put stuff all up on the wall and just have a lot of open space, but there's a lot of wasted space potentially if you're not throwing in a whole bunch of decorations, because you're pushed away from having multiple different shelves of the same type. You know, obviously you want a bunch of different products, you want as much product variety as possible, but you're negating that when you say, hey, if it's not all on one shelf, you're going to lose sales, potentially. So, not only sales, but I believe rating, too. I'm not sure if that affects rating, but I'm guessing that does affect rating. Now, another thing, actually, on the note of rating, is they've added 2 or 3 new ratings that you can get, which include statues, and, of course, that means the gas station gets potentially even busier, I believe. Yeah, you can see me once again struggling with the rotation, just trying to find just the right rotation. Actually, now that I think about it, I left these here and I meant to move them again because I didn't like how they lined up with that light behind them being asymmetrical. A little bit of OCD going on here with this game. Normally I don't care too much about that stuff, but something about this game, I think it's the fact that there is actually grids on the floor, but you can't line up to them. It's like, the game's telling you like, hey, here's something to line up to, but we're never going to allow you to line up to this properly. I think that's where the issue comes. So yeah, I'm trying to make use of the extra space and everything, and expanding out some of my stuff with the extra room here, and just try to do a little bit of a different layout. Again, a lot of wasted space in here. I'd put in some more rows of merchandise, you know, more newspapers and stuff like that, but again, I'm trying not to get punished because people can't find what they're looking for. And kind of jump back outside to place some more decorations, but then realize I don't want to put this ice machine in front of the window because it blocks the view. So then I put it over here. And then I was like, oh, that blocks the hose, but then I went to pick up the hose, picked up the ice machine. Now I can't place the hose down. So just having all sorts of issues here. Really, I'm just narrating what's going on the screen, which is probably really obvious if you guys are just watching this at all and not like listening to it in the background. Put the motorcycle outside. Looks much better outside than it does on the inside. Looks pretty cool no matter where you're at, but yeah. I'm going to put up my coat rack for my employees. Unfortunately, there isn't any good place to hang up the coat rack now, and I can't place the standing one close to the register, so the employees will have to freeze, I guess. Thankfully, it's always a heat swell forever. Now I'm kind of curious about the next DLC. The next DLC is called Shady Deals, I want to say, or Shady Business. I think it's Shady Deals, and it's got to do with your uncle, who's clearly a crime boss. And it looks like they might start up a bar outside of the gas station, so it looks like you potentially get another building that you can upgrade and get stuff out of. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with it. They haven't really announced much. They said it's a much bigger DLC than the Can Touch This DLC, which again, the Can Touch This DLC changes actually quite a bit for $3 DLC. I mean, you get a ton of new decorations. The ability to change up the gas station. I just, again, there's some things I wish they would change the ability, again, with the walls. Snapping grids would have been nice. The ability to change the warehouse and the workshop would have been super wonderful. Kind of sucks now because you've got these other buildings now that look kind of somewhat dilapidated compared to the gas station now, which looks much nicer. Although with the last few updates, I was kind of questioning how much the devs were actually listening to people, because I mean there was a lot of people asking for a lot of the same things over and over. I was seeing on the Discord, and not every request got filled, but they have actually filled a lot of the requests that people were asking for. Like again, the painting thing. Painting got really tedious with the gas station expansions. The stuff getting bigger and bigger for all of your buildings, and just more space that you have to paint and cover. The painting service is wonderful. Again, I just wish they wouldn't have painted everything white. If it was unpainted, I would have preferred it stayed unpainted. And if it was painted, then refresh that paint. That's kind of how I would prefer it, you know. But yeah, it's not a big deal. I guess it is actually kind of a big deal. It's pretty awful. But yeah, you know, what are you gonna do? So I've got the other sign I'm trying to put up for this section, but I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put it. It's, of course, kind of an awful spot that I was like looking at initially, because it's like the only people are going to see are the people already in the area. And I was like, oh, over here maybe. It's like the light kind of blocks it. It's like I can move the light or move this. Apparently it's settled up there on the ceiling just above the brick line there, which I think is probably the most visible spot that you're going to be able to put that and it not look really awful or stupid or out of place. So just trying to put the final touches on the gas station, make use of some of these decorations I have, because I've got a whole bunch of different decorations just sitting in my inventory, but I don't want to throw them out, because you know, if I ever decide I want them or want to put some of this stuff outside again, you know, I want to be able to have it. So we're going to take a quick look at here some of the new decorations that you can get for the outside. A lot of really big and very expensive decorations you can get for the outside of your structure. You know, the cheapest stuff being for the car wash, which is a couple of car wash signs that you can get now. And then there was another one which I'd already purchased, and I can't remember what that one was. But I like all of them. Don't really have the money for any of them. I wasted my money on a vacuum, which is part of the free DLC update. Don't buy the vacuum. If you guys have Gas Station Simulator and you have not bought the vacuum, I want to say it was like, I didn't look very closely at the price. I want to say it was like $10,000. I just bought it without hesitation because picking up the garbage and stuff is obnoxious, like constantly cleaning. The vacuum sucks. The thing is just a complete money sink, and it's like no value in it. So here you can see me with the spray paint. You can actually buy additional paint patterns. You don't start off with a huge selection, but you've got a few different ones you start off with by default. You're able to purchase more, which are a whole bunch of different patterns. You've got ads, pinup girls, kind of like generic, you know, southwestern style decorations. Again, you saw the alien I had, and here you can see some of those southwestern style decorations. Again, having the ability to snap would be wonderful here. Getting the sizing and the alignment and everything just right is pretty awful with this. And I put it up. I like the decoration pattern. I would love to have this around like the interior of my building. You can get fairly close. I mean, again, if I had that down for a little bit, I probably wouldn't notice, but you can see some of the spray pattern goes like into the window, which doesn't look really great. But, you know, again, if you're not really looking at it too closely, just at a quick glance, I love the pattern and everything, and I like it. You know, that like the white accent on the walls really adds a little bit of extra flair to the gas station, but just kind of ruins things. And again, with the sizing of it all, if you want it from as close to the, you know, the trim to the you know, the break point there where the bricks are, you know, the sizing's not going to be quite long enough to go across the whole wall. So, I don't know. Maybe this is intended for like the outside of the gas station, not the inside, and that's why this sizing's off. You can also, again, you can rotate all these and, you know, move them around and stack and alter different patterns. So maybe there's something you could do with some basic shapes and stuff to really like get some like rectangles or something maybe, or the number 1 or something that you could like rotate and put on there. I'm sure there's a way to make it look decent. Maybe that's something I'll go back and do on my own time. That's not for this video, but don't necessarily see that happening or being like super efficient, but it's something maybe I'll look into because I really do like the pattern. Something I want to implement onto a good chunk of my gas station to make it look a little bit more interesting on the inside, because I do like the color, but again, I wanted some sort of texture or pattern, and unfortunately you can only have it, again, either be the same thing as the outside or be on the outside only. Those are your only two choices. You don't, it's actually kind of silly. So you can't even just do pattern on the inside only. It's either only on the outside or both. Those are your two options. So getting the shelves restocked here and everything. So we've got a couple more minutes here. We're getting really close to being wrapped up with this. So I think I might just let you guys watch the last couple minutes in silence here, or something like that. I've kind of run out of things to talk about. I guess just to quickly summarize, if you guys are looking for an opinion as to whether or not you should buy this for $3, you know, if that's what you're looking at for pricing, obviously it's going to be dependent on your region. Definitely worth buying for $3. Flaws aside, this is a fantastic DLC. It adds extra levels to your building. You get some functionality out of it, with the warehouse getting increased storage for both gasoline and standard products. You've got a whole bunch of different options that really change up the gas station itself, allowing you to move your register, your trash cans, expanding the size of the gas station. The spray can is fantastic. You know, so I mean, just a lot of great functionality from this DLC for $3 that really elevates this game even further. So if you liked the game before, you're going to like it probably a lot more with this functionality. Again, the DLC does leave some things to be desired. In fact, it even highlights some of the issues from the base game, which should have been addressed before. Again, the surface snapping for the floor, the grid snapping, really should have been done. That being like one major thing. Again, the shelving, having customers look at multiple shelves for a product if they're looking for a specific product, instead of just going to one shelf and being like, oh, the product I want isn't here, I'm disappointed, and then, you know, either losing the sale or getting hurt on rating or something like that. So that's a couple of issues, and of course, again, the walls, which I keep coming back and griping. Another thing I would like to have seen is, not only would I like to have seen the ability to also change the workshop and the warehouse, I would have also liked the ability to clean up the area around the gas station. A lot of people have asked for more pavement, less dirt, more pavement, to make the gas station feel a little bit more modernized. I think this would have been a great opportunity for that. Maybe it's something we'll see with Shady Deals when they add in, you know, another business. I'm guessing probably not, but that's definitely something I would like to have seen, is the ability to, with this, potentially get rid of, you know, some of that extra dirt and stuff like that. You know, and there's room for expansion with like different pump styles and stuff like that. I think was also another missed opportunity. But alright guys, that's it. Take it easy. I will see you all in the next one.